So if you've read the fantasy genre before, you might have noticed that fantasy tends to use odd names, shall we say. Rather than having straightforward names like Bob and Bill and Joe, as fantasy authors, we tend to use made-up, strange names that sound foreign. That is one of the oddest traits for the fantasy genre, and it is a tradition that I am proud to carry on myself in my fantasy series, the Creativity Stone series, with character names such as Dedicus, Nemid, Adia, Emeth, Brek. But it is difficult sometimes to come up with names for characters. Any author is going to tell you this, that oftentimes they're going to spend way too much time searching and trying to figure out the perfect name for a character. Yet there is one fantasy author who shines above all the rest as incredible at creating fantasy names. And that is Andrew Peterson and his Wingfeather Saga. Now, if you've read the Wingfeather Saga, you'd know about the significance of names as a thematic motif. It is a theme that is played out throughout the entire series. We see that in Cal/Tink and his transition from being known as Tink to being known as Kalmar. We see that theme played out in, of course, spoiler alert, the Fangs, and how when they're transformed into the animal creatures, they get new names, and then of course at the very end they are transformed back into human. They're also given new names. And then the villain of the whole series is Nag the Nameless. It comes down to figuring out and sharing with him what his name actually was. So names carry more than just the way that someone is identified in the series. It carries identity. It carries tradition and legacy and duty and purpose. And all of these things are wrapped up inside the person's name. And because of the significance of names for the series, one would expect that there's some really solid names in the series. And that is true. But there's also some really, really weird ones. And so, as I was rereading through the series for a different video that I'll be making, I decided to jot down all the different names that I saw, and because I'm weird and enjoy ranking things, I went ahead and ranked every single name in the Wingfeather Saga. This not only includes the characters that we meet, but also all the various names from the quotes of Oscar, which gave us most of the weird ones, as well as any of the citations at the bottom, any of the names in the appendix. Basically, I chronicled every single name that was ever mentioned in the 4-book series. And specifically, this only includes names of characters. So, for example, Ankle Jelly Manor is mentioned, and more than likely that's named after a person in the world named Ankle Jelly, but we never actually heard of a character named Ankle Jelly, so that's not included on the list. Just times a name was mentioned that is connected to a specific character. So there ended up being a few more names than I was thinking. We ended up somehow with 302 names, which is wild. I have no idea how Andrew Peterson came up with all these names. Honestly, some of them it feels like he asked a group of kids to come up with a ton of weird names, and this is what they came up with, which is actually probably what happened. I would be shocked if that wasn't what happened, honestly. And I'm going to share with you my ranking of all 302 names. This is based off of my personal enjoyment of the name. So most of them, it's just because they sound weird and are fun to say. I grouped some names, like I grouped all of the Fangs names together. I'm honestly not sure if this video is going to be interesting at all, but it amused me, and so hopefully it'll amuse you too. So I've got my list here of all the names, and we are going to start from the bottom and go all the way up through every single name in the Wingfeather Saga. I should preface this by saying that more than likely I'm going to mispronounce these. My bad. I've never been great at figuring out name pronunciation, and so this is probably not the best video for me to make, but you get to watch me struggle with name pronunciation, so maybe you'll find that interesting. And one more thing, I realized after I'd already printed everything off that I had one name, only one name, in here twice. And that is near the very top, so technically on my list it says 303, but there's only 302 names. Alas, I did my best to make sure that didn't happen, but it did. Very sad. Anyways, let us go ahead and get started. Hopefully this is interesting to you guys to hear me read these names. Alright, let's see. At the very bottom, the most normal sounding name, we have Doug. Good old Doug. Then we have Tony, Nicholas, Owen, Danny the Cart Horse, Joe Schuster, Sarah Cobbler, Joe Bill, Jim Bob. To clarify, Jim Bob is not two names. Jim Bob is one name. First name Jim Bob. Okay. Elmer, Dwayne, Gladys, Cousin Joe Bob. That is two names. Kiki, Geneva, Ed Helmer, Addie Schuster, Mr. Shawburn, Bonnie Longhunter, Baxter, Nugget the Dog, Samuel Durbin, Maggie Dunnefield, Chief Tom Billy, Fisher, Elena, Lola, Adeline, Quinn, Nora, Clout, Maddie, Olson, Elder Chadwick. All of these are pretty straightforward so far. Graven McKeith. Okay, we're getting slightly outer. Madigan Oliver, spelled with two L's. Zola May Rubbleshaw. Madam Sidler. Marley Weaver. Poggy Weaver. Bagley Durbin. Molly Bloge. Myrna Bridgeholler. Ilya Finley. Boron Son of Nam. Freva Longhunter. Nubis. Keith Yeager. Nia Igby Wingfeather. Claxton Weaver. Lena. Omar. Omir. Probably Omir. Ellen, Wallace, Berindel, no, there's no D. Berinell, Gaiman, aka the Florid Sword. Bounder, these are all the dog names. Leaper, Sounder, Flag, Duggar, Mobrick, Brimstack, Lily Bulfin, Oscar Nos Reteep, Reteep. Oscar Nos Reteep, Nag the Nameless. And now we have all of the various Fang names. Timber, Swifter, Triffin, Feral, Rube, Murgle, Slurp, Slarp, Gurgan, Garkle, Glag, Norm, Crack, Virago, Sneem, Vop, Vark, Glab, Brack, Ziggit, Ploob, Chunk, Ragnar, Higgik, Moopf, Grunge, Scrava, Scravra, Hackles, Gruel, Nuzzard, Billy Buttons, Connellan Durgan, Madia Wingfeather, Aramund, the Borman Clan, the Blagus Clan, Shannon Rona, Quincy Candlesmith, Mirabelle Lannerty, Nalia Wingfeather, Ilya Wingfeather, Lander Wingfeather, Esben Wingfeather, Davian Wingfeather, which is a very important name in the story, Talaran Wingfeather, Kalmar/Tink, Igby Wingfeather, Janner Igby Wingfeather, Eratham P. Wingfeather. The P is for extra posh. Eratham P. Wingfeather. Sounds very, or maybe professional. I don't know. That name sounds very posh and professional. Anyways, we have Drew, J-R-U. Drew? Not Jeru? Jeru? Jeru. We're gonna go with Drew. Drew Wingfeather, Brownwin Silverfoot, Amra Fielderfoot, Tollers Greensmith, Ortham Greensmith, Dorna Stoutfist, Chadley Helmer, Alma Rainwater, Linry Gardensmith, Gora Barnswaller, Jari, we're gonna go with Jerry, Barnswaller, Bormond Quickfoot, Uma Thistlefoot, Dugan Dole Rona, Thorn the Tor, Sharn the Tor, King Oilman the Tor, Windolin Igby, Thorn O'Sally, Kelvy O'Sally, Biggin O'Sally, Malik Igby, Kerrigan Igby, Lily Igby Wingfeather, Lily Dillard, who is the one whom Lily gets her name from, Pete the Sockman, Podo Helmer, Rudrick Ben Yorna, Morsha Macfig, not Micfig, Macfig, very important distinction, Mildrish Inwart, Patty Durbin Thistlefoot, Thoraki, Urwal, Frankel, Baralal, Karnak, Peasley, Gretelin, Portis, Saxby, Graw, Trelane, Borley, Cliffin, Vera, Norn, Yora, Duffer, Murgah, Broza, Mr. Bunge. I don't know why that one is so fun to me. Mr. Bunge. Arundel, Arundel, Yarnick, not Yarnick, Larnick with a L. Larnick, Shug, Gruck, Yorna, Yana, Erland, Halibart, Smooge, Earl, Chumpley, Ood, Ulfin, Kinnan, Mungry, Nyani, Danaby, Nizik, Bizik, Whizzle, Yigit, Jonicle. What's going on here? What's going on here, Andrew Peterson? Jonicle, okay. Whatever. Shamrad, Jaffin, Brogman, Tulmus the Bint, Yerbik, Jurgen, Holwyn, Yanrick, Rostheim, Filthy Hoop. I guess we can just name anyone anything now. We got a Filthy Hoop in here. Brimstone, Illick, Illiq, Illick. Sure, Illick. Banhun, Austerwill, Yorshadoon, Buzzard Willie, Armulin the Bard. Alright, we're in the top 100. We're almost there. We got this. Okay. Ladnar Knoll. Ladnar Knoll. Or... I'm assuming the G would be silent here. It can't be Ladnar Knoll. Ladnar Knoll. I don't know. Horgan Flannery, Tumnus Button, Growlfist the Strander King, Arundel Buttons, Bargum Helmer, Billiam Stone, Charleston James, Ferenia Swappleton, Gumfrey Hafto, Yarley Cray, Borla Helmer, R.T. Crunk, Mig Landers, Herman Perdus, Aman Putan, Aman Putan. I'm gonna go with that. Putan. Aman Putan. That sounds right. Well, not actually right, but good enough. Janiber Igaby. Not to be confused with Janner Igaby. This is Janiber Igaby. Mikkel Bolfin. Pages are stuck. Nurabog Weaver. Anjudar the Waif. Babert Pimbrick. Rumpelbloge, Esben Flavigol, which is Janner's fake name. I think it's in book 1. He goes with the last name Flavigol, which, I mean, to be fair, in this world, not as odd as one would think. Ma Vorba, Shank Po, Goot the Wise, Gruzab, Rose Poif, Great Granny Olore, Vintage Trizabek, Grindenwald Hollisra, Grindenwald Hollisra, Shaggy Bandabund, Badly Bunsome, Himika the Hairy, Conrad Tottingtown. Nice, that very formal. Conrad Tottingtown. Frobatine the Mum, Riva Tuto, okay? R Smackum. At this point, he's just doing whatever he wants with R Smackum and Riva Tuto. Fahoon, Gimbleton, Shorten, Olympia Groundwitch, Ezek Fincher, Wimble Poif, Bandy Impstead, Burley the Pow, Grigory Bunge. I don't know why I like that one so much. Grigory Bunge. I probably should have put that one higher. That one's fun. Nibbick Bunge, Hunwit Moore, Raunchy McHiggins, Lazaran Snoot, Bimba Fog Swain, Brimy Stoop, Umrund, Wonkin, Bankton, Spoonsy, Izek the Slapped, Lothar Sweeb, Zagaburz, Yakavburz, Feanor, Chauny Bamington, Lindilia McRone, Weasley the Leaf Thief. Not sure why thievery of a leaf is so significant, but it is significant enough that he is known as Weasley the Leaf Thief. Skeegan the Questionable. Also would like to know what Skeegan did to name him Skeegan the Questionable. Jindo Queeb. Jonathan Kunch Brownman. Not Jonathan Kunch Brownman. Jonathan Kunch Brownman. Very important distinction. Unibus the Wound. Alright, number 27. Bonifer Squoon, the treacherous Bonifer Squoon. Alep Broom. Trillaben Publius the Bruised. Volamar Griggins. Ozbek Now do you see why I'm thinking, like, okay, he had to have asked a bunch of children to come up with these names. How else would you come up with Trillaben Publius the Bruised and Ozbek and of course, number 22, Thumb of the Honk Meadow. I love it. Thumb of the Honk Meadow. Guildmaster Nibblesticks. How would you pay attention in Guildmaster Nibblesticks class? It would be too fun. And then there's number 20. Cletus John Jimmy Jams. Okay, I love this. It's slightly less made up than the other ones, but we have a character in this crazy fantasy series named Cletus John Jimmy Jams. I love it. I love it. Cletus John Jimmy Jams. I need to move that one up in the ranking. That one's awesome. Oh, and I don't know how to pronounce the next one. Verbitude Yay. Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna go with Verbitude Yay. Zuzabob Coit, Vilmetti, Oppenholm, Rendolt, Minerqua, Tisric, Ruz, Boig McCrowlin, Fripsky von Chigaraton, Vripsky von Chigaraton, Quarview Kudij, Yamza-Griggins. I like Yamza-Griggins. That's a solid one. I don't know why I like Yamza so much, but it's fun to say Yamza. Solid name. Alright, top 9. Here we go. Willibur Smalls. Pink Sam Punkbelly, which Pink Sam Punkbelly is the name I accidentally had twice. Hellebug Rounce Miglatob. Oh my, number 6. Okay. Hizakina. It might be Hizakina, but it's spelt weird. Hyzknah. Hizakina. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Number 5. Lou D. Cicclliccelli. That is a lot of C's and a lot of L's and a lot of I's. Sicka Cell. We're gonna go with Sickacell Silly. Whatever. 4. Buntanud. 3. Padovian A. Malley. Number 2. Loshain Pastane. And number 1. Buffunerous Pork. And there we go. There is all 302 names in the Wingfeather Saga. Now what did we learn today? Not really sure. But hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you enjoyed me trying to pronounce Lou de Siccacel. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that name, and I give up trying. Andrew Peterson, you have my deep admiration and respect for coming up with all of these ridiculous names. You are the master, and I bow down and tip my hat towards you for coming up with such fun and creative names. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to end this. Hopefully you found something interesting. I now have a pile of papers on the floor around me, and yeah, comment on which one was your favorite name. And if there's any other fantasy names that you've seen in books or shows that you particularly like. I don't think it's going to be easy to top Buffunerous Work, but maybe that's just me. I'm a big fan of Buffunerous. Maybe I should name my child Buffunerous, or Yamza, or Lou de Siccacel. Or not. Maybe not. Or, what was it? Cletus John Jimmy Jams. Yes, of course. I will name my child Cletus John Jimmy Jams Ward, or Buffunerous Work, or Padovian A. Malley. That's what I'll name my child. It just rolls right off the tongue. Alright. Let me know if you found this enjoyable at all. And let me know which character names that you found most amusing. Yep, that's all I got. See you next time. Boonta nude, boonta nude, boon 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 boonta nude.